Welcome to the Steelers by the Lake podcast. My name is James, joined once again by my co-host Cody. How are you doing today, Cody?
I'm fantastic, James. How are you? How are you doing, my guy?
Most of the way better, buddy. A little bit stuffed in the nose there, still a little nasally, but the voice is back, so
That's
we're able to
good.
go duo again. You don't have to go solo without me, which is a rough thing. I've done it.
Yeah.
It's very rough.
It's not horrible. You just lose the aspect of talking to somebody. You lose the communication thing. You lose the dialogue between two people and the opinions. I mean, I had notes from you and everything that you wanted to talk about, but happy to have you back. Happy you beat COVID. It's a serious thing. I wasn't allowed to work today because I had contact with you, mother trucker, on Monday. So I had off today as well. So,
The price of getting my help.
is what it is. It was good help on Monday. Monday was a long day. But yeah, before we go too far, how are you? I already asked you
Good,
that.
man.
I just want to make sure. You sure you're
No,
good?
yeah. Feeling good. I'm excited about this weekend's game. The possibility of Pittsburgh sending Ben off with his last win of the regular season, of the last regular season game he ever plays. Most likely.
Most likely. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Ben doesn't
Yeah,
speak
I can't imagine him changing his mind now.
I could. As
he's
awkward
done.
as it is. I could. I've already had those dreams, nightmares, whatever you want to call them. I don't know. They make me
Yes.
nervous either way.
Yes.
But we have Steelers news. We have Steelers news to talk about. The first thing on the
Yes.
list, Thursday, which be yesterday because we're recording today, which is Friday at about roughly 5
Friday.
p.m. Deontay Johnson and Kendrick Green both were added to the COVID list. Deontay Johnson being our number one wide receiver right now. Little worrisome.
Yeah. You know what? Honestly, my initial reaction to that was, you know what? Maybe somebody else is going to get a shot at wide receiver. And I was really happy with the play of J.C. Hassenauer. So I wasn't too disappointed to see that would disqualify Kendrick Green most likely from this weekend's game. I feel like J.C. deserves a chance to play once more. So if he has back-to-back really good games at the end of the year, you figure he's at least a lock to make the roster next year, if not possibly even a viable starting option for next season. So
Yeah.
the Deontay Johnson, a much bigger issue than Kendrick Green, in my opinion, just because Kendrick hasn't been that good this year. TJ Watt named the team MVP for the third year in a row.
Are you really surprised?
No, I am not.
Not at all. Not at all. Defensive lineman
last year too, it could have given him a run for his money, but and then the year before maybe Hayward could have given him a run for his money, but otherwise, I mean, who has there been that's been really that amazing? Probably been since AB that there was somebody that would have really given him a run. So
very true.
And then the news right at the same time, defensive lineman Daniel Archibong was restored to the practice squad from the COVID list. So guys starting to come back from the COVID list. I think you went over that extensive list at the end of your solo show where we got Schobert and Bush and all the other boys back, which was fantastic news. Now Archibong coming back. In the limited time he played in games this year, I thought he actually looked pretty good, pretty athletic for such a big dude.
Yeah.
So might be something to work with in next year's preseason. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see.
And then the Friday news, today's news, in a stunning turn of events, Deontay Johnson right back off the COVID list.
Don't know how that happens unless he tested positive yesterday morning, negative yesterday night, and then negative today.
Well, you only need one negative test now.
Well, then there you go.
That's the new rules. So, he probably felt like he had something. He tested, and then he said, well, I'm going to continue testing every day. And so he tested positive on Thursday and negative today. So he's good to go. We got our number one wide receiver back.
Just like me, I felt really sick yesterday, and then all of a sudden today I'm perfectly fine. So whatever.
You got baby
I didn't
COVID.
I didn't even have to get tested. They didn't even make me get tested. So whatever.
I got like medium COVID. You got baby COVID.
Yeah, exactly. We also did unfortunately place Buddy Johnson on the IR today. So Buddy to the injured reserve list. Buddy's done for the year at this point. He wouldn't be back. I think even if we go into playoffs, I don't think they'd take him off the IR list unless we absolutely unless something crazy happened. But even then, isn't it a 3-week minimum?
Yeah, he's got to be on for at least 3 weeks, so they'd have to make it they'd have to win at least 2 games in the postseason. They'd have to make the postseason and win at least 2 games for him to be eligible to return. But I think that's just, it shows you got Tigre scales that you can't cut now.
Yep.
And Schobert and Bush both came off the COVID list, so now you're back to having, you would have had 7 middle linebackers. You need to start freeing up some space for some of the other positions on the team. You got 2 punters, and you're not going to cut either one of them, so they're both on the 53. Had to start making some room. So that's where that comes into play. Buddy Johnson to the injured reserve because he wasn't going to be eligible to play this week anyway.
Yeah.
They also signed guard Nate Gilliam to the practice squad, which Nate was on the practice squad a couple of weeks ago when we had COVID strike some offensive linemen on the practice squad. He was on for a week and then released. Now he's back on again. And then with all those wide receivers that you announced coming back from the COVID list, unfortunately, that made some of the practice squad wide receivers no longer necessary. Unfortunately, Rico Bussey Jr. and Damian Willis released from the practice squad, and that would have been a direct correlation to the other guys coming back to it.
Yep. Sad day for sure. Injury report for both teams. Let's go over Pittsburgh first real quick. Because it's not that big, if we're being honest.
No.
Ben Roethlisberger, pectoral right shoulder. He's been on the list for 4 or 5 weeks now, at least, with the same injury. And he was limited practice on Wednesday, and then full practice Thursday and today. He's gonna play. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So, Terrell Edmonds groin injury, same limited practice Wednesday, full participant today. That's all that matters. Moving on. Buddy Johnson is going to be out with a foot injury. Trey Turner is more than likely going to play with a knee injury, considering he was full participation today. That's my guess. I could be wrong with that, but he didn't participate.
As long as he doesn't have any negative reactions to it. If his knee swells up or something, then they might have to hold him out. But yeah, that's a great sign that he was able to go full.
Yeah. Dan Moore Jr., doubtful to play the game. He did not participate today or the last 2 days. Cornerback Arthur Mollett and both Isaiah Buggs had illnesses. Isaiah Buggs will not be playing in this game. Arthur Mollett is not declared yet. He didn't participate at all on Wednesday, didn't participate on Thursday, and then full participation today. So I'm assuming he'll play. It'd be nice. Yeah. I like to see him in the slot again, but I'm not sure if he's going to play or not.
And honestly, I think he would be an important one for this game anyway, when you're talking about going against the Ravens' very run-heavy offense. Arthur Mollett, a real specialist from the nickel defender position against the run. He's real stout against the run like Mike Hilton was.
Yeah.
So that would be more important in that regard than it is his covering skills, which aren't as good.
Yeah. You want to go over the Ravens team?
Yeah, let's talk about the Ravens team, man. They got a huge list when it comes to their injury report, but it looks like a lot of it really was just due to guys being given days off for rest. So the noteworthy ones here are going to be Anthony Averett, who is a cornerback for them. I believe plays nickel.
Mm-hmm.
He's been ruled out with a rib/chest injury. Bradley Bozeman, who's their center, was a full participant the last couple of days, so he should be going. Tyler Huntley, the backup quarterback, had an illness earlier in the week, but has been a full participant. We have since learned that Tyler Huntley will actually be getting the start this week, as due to Lamar Jackson still being out with that ankle. He has not practiced all week long due to that ankle injury. So that's something that is very noteworthy for sure. Patrick Mikari was a full participant in practice and should be available for the game, although he was limited earlier in the week. He's a guard/center. And then the last real notable one is going to be Odafe Owe. They're starting outside linebacker/pass rusher, whatever you'd like to call him. That would be, he's doubtful for the game, has not participated in practice all week. And that we're looking at a foot injury. So definitely something to look at there with Dan Moore coming off of an ankle injury from last week's game. Not having to go against a full strength Odafe Owe on his side will be very beneficial for him. Definitely will make things a little bit easier. Rest of the guys look like they're a full go. Calais Campbell was given the day off, but it looks like it was just for rest. So I expect him to be good to go.
Yeah, even Devin Duvernay is probably one of the last ones that's questionable for the game because of an ankle or knee injury. But a couple of
Yeah.
guys were just not injury related, getting rest, getting prepared for the game. Big game. I feel like every time we play the Ravens is a big game, but that's beside the point. Let's look at this team as an overall. So obviously the quarterback, you're going to have Tyler Huntley be starting. Tyler Huntley has played well for the most part when he's come in and played. He had a really good game against Green Bay where they only lost by 1 point in an impressive turnout for him. The running back room obviously is fairly deep with Devontae Freeman, Latavius Murray, and then Tyson Williams as that third string backup. Their running game is very, very good, and especially when it's led by Patrick Ricard. When Patrick Ricard's in there, you're getting some key blocks, and I'm jealous of how well they use their fullback for sure. So
yeah, I mean, let's be real. This is an extra offensive lineman playing fullback. He's 310 pounds according to them.
yeah,
And looks dang near every bit of it. He's as big as those interior offensive linemen. Not a real threat in the passing game. I've seen them try to throw to him a few times, and most of the time it ends up in an incomplete pass. He's just not going to have the agility to make that happen most of the time. But very important that our guys meet him in the hole. If he is actually acting like a fullback, somebody's got to stand him up and get in there and stuff him. So big day for like Montravius Adams. Very important that he gets some penetration and doesn't let that guy go full speed into our linebackers because that probably won't end well.
Yep, absolutely. Wide receiver room, Sammy Watkins, Marquise Brown. You also have Rashard Bateman and Devin Duvernay, who is obviously questionable. Offensive line here, the big name here is still Alejandro Villanueva, if you ask me. Going up against the previous Steeler player who was with us up until last year, Ben Powers, Bradley Bozeman, Kevin Zeitler, and Patrick McCarry. All those guys are not all those guys. Excuse me. McCarry was the one that was dealing with an injury.
Yeah, Powers was on the list too, but I don't
list.
think he was. I don't think he's projected to be out. I think they're both supposed to be playing, so they both might not be 100%.
Yep, and then obviously Mark Andrews, tight end. Big target.
Huge. Best player on the offense, if you ask me.
I probably wouldn't disagree with that.
Including a healthy Lamar. I think that Mark Andrews is just a very talented tight end. So very important that they keep a good eye on where he's at in the passing game. Don't let him slip out uncovered. Get those linebackers on him, get those safeties on him, whatever you got to do to make sure he's not running free.
Absolutely. Defensive side of the ball, where do you want to start?
Let's go D-line. If you don't mind reading them off, I got another weird thing in front of me here. I think you got a better list in front of you than I do.
Defensive tackle Calais Campbell obviously had a break with practice, but will be going. Nose tackle Brandon Williams. Defensive end Justin Madambuke. Is that how you pronounce that?
Matabuike, I think it is. Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, that's the rookie, right?
Yep. And then you also have obviously Justin Houston, Josh Bynes, Patrick Queen, the star rookie from the same year that no, he was the year before Devin Bush, correct? It was Devin Bush and Devin White. Patrick Queen was the year after. I want to
say Queen was the year after. Yeah.
Correct. And then you have Tyus Bowser, not a pushover linebacking crew at all. And then their secondary is fairly decent. Anthony Averett, we talked about, possibly injured. Chuck Clark, Jimmy Smith are the top three corners. Or excuse me, Chuck Clark's the safety, but Tavon Young and Chris Westry are the other corners on the other side. And then you also had Brandon Stevens at free safety. I'm not scared of their safeties, if I'm being honest. I'm not.
No, in the corner room is very depleted. All their star names are out. So this is a team that you ought to be able to throw the ball against. Their best pass rushers are out. Calais Campbell is going to be the biggest issue. If he's healthy, obviously you need to pay close attention to him because he can wreck games all by himself.
Yeah.
But past him, with Odafe Owe being questionable as to whether or not he's even going to go, that really does help Pittsburgh out. There's not great pass rush, and there's not great secondary. So if Ben ever is poised to have a big game on what could be his final game of his career, which the potential is absolutely there for that to be, this is it, man. It's a weakened secondary. It's a weakened pass rush. Offensive line just had the best game they've had maybe of the entire season. If they're able to establish the run against, like say were last week, he could have a nice passing performance. Maybe, just maybe, he could still catch Dan Marino in that passing touchdown and Phillip Rivers too. You know, he's getting real. I want to say he's at like 417 now.
Yeah.
And Marino's 420 and Rivers is 421. So it's doable. It's doable. 5 tutties. He passes them both.
Only 5, Ben. Come on, you got this.
He's got 21 in the season. What's 5 more?
Yeah, he'll get there. Sam Cock, the punter and holder. Justin Tucker, the kicker. And
It's Sam Cook.
Cook, whatever.
I know
What'd
it's
I say?
spelled.
Whatever, it doesn't matter. Sam. And then Devin Duvernay, the kickoff return and punt return specialist guy.
Who's the long snapper again?
Nick Moore. Doesn't really matter though.
Okay. Wow.
He's not a Pittsburgh Steeler. I don't care. I don't care about long snappers other than
Christian
Kuntz.
too.
Christian Kuntz is the only long snapper that matters. Let's be real.
Amen.
So now it is time for our keys to success. Keys to victory against this Baltimore Ravens team. Do you want me to go first or do I want you to go first?
Doesn't matter to me, buddy. Go ahead.
You go first. No. I went first last time.
All right. I'm in. Number one key. This is going to sound redundant. It's like I say this a lot against opposing teams. Contain and pressure. Pressure first, contain second. Tyler Huntley. It's the same strategy with Lamar Jackson as it is with Tyler Huntley. Both highly athletic quarterbacks. Both guys that have an issue with turning the ball over. So just make sure that when you're rushing, you maintain your lanes. That's the important thing with a guy like this.
I agree. Continue.
Number 2, stop the Ravens' rushing attack. They're most likely going to try to run it down our throats, just like we thought the Browns were going to try to last week, and for whatever reason did not. Thank you. You really did us a big favor there. Kept our hopes alive for the season, really. So if they do rush the ball, got to go all out on stopping it. Very important.
All out.
Number 3, my final one, maybe the most important key that I've had of the entire season. Send Big Ben off with a win.
That's not a key.
Could be his last game of his entire career.
That's not a key.
It is.
I'll give it to you, but it's not a key. You're like basically just calling on everybody. All right, just do it. Just do your job. Fair enough.
Man. I mean, I feel like last week, the entire team rallied around the fact that it was Ben's last home game, most likely of his entire career.
That's
right?
Fair.
I think the only position group that didn't rally around it is the wide receivers, which is insane to me. Like, Najee had his best game ever. He talked about how he saw how Ben sent Jerome Bettis off the right way at the end of Jerome's career, and he wanted to be able to do that for Ben. And you could see it, on the final snap, he comes in after the kneel down and he gives Ben a big hug. Like, but while he's still on his knee on the ground, he goes down and gives him a big hug. Like, my performance was for you, Ben. Like, that's the kind of thing you want to see. I just pray we can see it out of the wide receivers this week because it seems like they're the only ones that didn't care last week.
Oh, that's fair. I'll give you that. All right. My 3 keys to success. All of them are going to be actual keys and not just... Listen, if you would have said rally around Big Ben, I guess that's a little better. Anyways, whatever. My 3 keys to success. Number 1, put points on the board early against this Baltimore Ravens team. I'm tired of seeing us not put up points early. I've said it once. I've said it twice. I've probably said it 13 times out of this 18-week season. One of them was a bye week. I've said it a lot this year. So I want to see touchdowns in the first quarter. I want to see touchdowns in the second quarter. I'm going to tell you what. I want to see touchdowns in the third and fourth quarter as well. I want to see... I'm going to look at this up later and maybe post it as a tweet from our page or something. I want to know when the last time Pittsburgh got a touchdown in all 4 quarters of play in a game. I'm hoping it was this year, but I want to go back and look. I'm really curious.
This year?
It could have been. Who knows?
How many games have we got 4 touchdowns in this year?
Maybe 3. Maybe 1.
No.
You don't think any? I'll have to go back and look. I think we
maybe like 1, dude. Think about how many times have we been over 30 points this year?
Believe me, I know. It stresses me out. But I'm just saying.
Like once.
I'm going to go look at it. Anyways.
I'm telling you, by score alone, I can tell you there's only like one game that had a chance, and I don't
That's
think it
okay.
happened.
We'll look at it. I'll look at it after the game. Don't worry, or after the recording right now.
We'll
Don't
have
worry.
like 4 touchdowns, and one of them was by the special teams.
I don't care. It's still a touchdown. I want 4 touchdowns in this game, and I want 1 touchdown in every quarter. That's what my key to success is. It's not, but it's scoring early, scoring often. Number two, control the clock. That is what Baltimore Raven loves to do, and if we can do it, they can't. Period. End of discussion. Allow Najee to run the ball. Allow Najee to put his head down. That offensive line needs to block the same way they did last year. I know that's kind of I'm hitting 2 with 1. The run game just needs to be there. We need to control the clock. Number 3, I'm going to go a little bit different from you with apply pressure and everything with Huntley. I'm not even worried about containing him or anything like that. I'm just worried about not giving up the big plays. That's what happens when we play Baltimore. Is we give up like so many big plays against them where players are just secondaries just making bad reads, making bad lines, pursuits bad, whatever it is. I don't want to see us give up the big play against a backup quarterback against the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore for Ben's last game. Don't want to see it. Those are my 3 keys. We'll have to wait and see what happens. So now real quick before we go, normally that's the end of it. We want to talk real quick about what it takes for Pittsburgh to get into the playoffs. Number one, Pittsburgh needs to win.
Win the dadgam game.
Win it!
Like Keith Butler would say, win the dadgum game.
Win the dadgum game.
That's his favorite word, dadgum. Can tell he's old school. I love it.
Number 2.
Win. Oh, the Jaguars need the win, which the Jaguars are currently the team with the worst record in the NFL, and the Colts playoffs hope rely on them winning the game. The Jaguars winning could possibly cost them the number 1 overall pick. They could slide down into a lesser position in the draft. So their motivation for winning the game is less than huge. But they do have an intern coaching staff going on there. And they have everything to prove. Especially after getting spanked 50-10 last week.
That's true.
If they want any of them to have a possibility of having a job there or really anywhere else, they can't just lay down this week.
That's true.
So I do expect the Jaguars coaching staff to try. And the players really should be playing for something too. Because a number 1 overall pick doesn't really help them any. That's an exciting thing for front office. It didn't help many
last year, so.
Yeah. They need so much more than just 1 pick.
With all that being said,
last thing that has to happen.
Before that, Jacksonville, Indianapolis, I believe this game is in Jacksonville. Indianapolis has not won in Jacksonville since 2016, 2014, one of those 2 years.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, either one will take.
Yeah, either way. It's either 4 years or 6 years. So
is Wentz healthy too?
5 years?
I feel like Wentz has missed some games.
I think
recently.
Wentz is never healthy, but I think he's playing. If that matters.
He's playing like the 1.5 legs.
Yeah. But yeah, the last thing that needs to happen / can't happen is we cannot have a tie between the Las Vegas Raiders and the Los Angeles Chargers.
Correct.
Which ironically, if they tied, both those teams would then make the playoffs.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's no way that they'll like just sit down and kneel the ball all game long. So we'll have a winner in that game most likely. It's pretty rare that you have ties anyway, other than Pittsburgh this year. I don't know if anybody else even has one.
Nope.
Other than obviously
the Lions. We just tied ourselves.
Yeah, so that's our scenario. So at least it's not like 18 teams have to lose for Pittsburgh to get in.
No, only 3. Only 3 teams need to lose.
Yeah. The Ravens,
and there's 4 options.
The Colts and either the Chargers or the Raiders.
Only 3 teams need to lose, and there's even an extra option, which is phenomenal.
Just hope that turns into a blowout real quick in that game so we don't have to worry about that one.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh take care of their own business and then pray for a miracle in Jacksonville.
Yeah, that's what we're going. That's what we're going for. Again, thank you guys for listening. This short episode. Be sure to like and follow on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. Until next time, this is your host, James and Cody, signing off.
Peace.